Hello, I'm Oliver Wilton from the Bartlett UCL.
And I'm Matthew Barnett Howland from CSK Architects and the Bartlett UCL.
We're going to talk to you today about our memorial to the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution is a Western historical landmark. It began in Britain in the 18th century and spread to the rest of the world. This painting of 1801, Colebrook Dale by Night, has come to symbolise the birth of the Industrial Revolution in Ironbridge Gorge, Shropshire, England. This period of history combined factors including fossil fuel exploitation, propositional use of science-based methods, and standardization of processes and products using mechanization and division of labor. It was a period of enormous technological progress and industrial development, and it created what we know today as manufacturing. This was a period of movement from agrarian to urban habitation patterns. The built environment was transformed by robust materials with high embodied energy made using fossil fuels. Geological materials were combusted to enable other geological materials to be transformed, including iron, as used here in the emblematic iron bridge, brick, glass, steel, and concrete. The Industrial Revolution gave us superpowers and helped to enable the Great Acceleration, a period of abrupt planetary change that got us to where we are today. Unprecedented domination of the planet by a single species. Today, we enjoy many benefits as an inheritance from this period, and at the same time, the consequences of our actions, some unintended and some less so, include a global ecological crisis, abrupt anthropogenic climate change combined with drastic ongoing habitat and biodiversity loss. This is impacting hugely on those of us who are less empowered and on other forms of life on Earth to the extent that it threatens to foreshadow all that we and our ancestors have worked towards. So at this bittersweet moment in human history, we felt it fitting to create a memorial to the Industrial Revolution. On the one hand, to commemorate the incredible achievements of the period, and on the other hand, to mark the necessary death of the late modern period and its environmentally destructive linear modes of production, consumption, and habitation. We'll now discuss some background and key considerations in the creation of a Cork memorial. The pyramidal form is well established for memorial use, as illustrated here by the 2,000-year-old tomb of Gaius Cestius in Rome, and by these further examples. As you can see, stone is the de facto material for Western memorials, with its monumental character and an assumption that it will remain in memory forever. Sol Biennale is the opposite of permanent. Its impermanence is core to its raison d'etre. We've been working with pure expanded cork a lot recently. We've come to know it very well, and we've built our temporary monument with it. Cork is a beguiling plant-based material that can have a monumental visual character similar to stone, as you can see here, with Cork House pitched on the left and the 8th century Church of St. Donatus in Croatia on the right. At the same time, cork is light and easy to build with, aromatic and warm to the touch. We completed Cork House in 2019 after researching and developing the construction system with partners. It's a radically simple building and the world's first structural cork house. We developed the house with a design methodology that we call Form Follows Life Cycle, shaping the project with careful consideration of each life cycle stage. This is the resultant cork construction kit used to build the house, a manufactured plant-based building system with timber floor, cork walls and roof, all resting on steel screw piles. Here's the corbelled roof being assembled from large cork blocks using no glue or mortar. The ancient structural principle of the corbel is made possible here in a dry jointed system thanks to the high tolerances of CNC fabrication. Inside, the house is warm and protective with a calm acoustic and an atmospheric balance of light and shadow. And looking up, the corbelled roof has a primordial temple-like character. Memorial to the Industrial Revolution is informed by our previous work and develops the form follows life cycle methodology, carefully tailored to the Seoul Biennale context. And so we're going to explain it in life cycle stages, starting with the resource. Cork oak forests are a rich cultural and ecological landscape that predate the industrial period and have existed around the Mediterranean basin for millennia. The management of cork forest is often combined with arable and livestock farming, which creates a biodiverse ecosystem, including the black Iberian pigs who graze on acorns in the shade and are used in pata negra ham, and also Eurasian crane, Iberian lynx, and Iberian eagle. Cork is the outer bark of the cork oak tree. It's harvested around every 9 years using hand tools in a process that does not harm the tree. So it's perhaps the arboricultural equivalent of a haircut. Like all plants, cork trees absorb CO2, and harvested cork trees absorb 3 or 4 times more CO2 than non-harvested trees over their lifetime. The money that cork generates plays an important role in maintaining these landscapes. After harvest, the best cork from the trunk is used to make high-quality wine bottle stoppers. This leaves a lot of cork byproduct and other low-grade cork that's left over from cork forestry. This low-grade cork is granulated and placed into a pressure cooker, and the granules are steam cooked at over 300 degrees centigrade, as pictured here at Amarim's Vendas Novas factory. Around 90% of the energy used to generate the steam comes from waste biomass. This process causes the cork to expand and the natural resin in the cork, suberin, to melt and then rebond to the expanded granules with no additives. The result is large billets of expanded cork, a pure plant-based product. And here are some billets stabilizing after cooking. So here's the second reason why we use cork for the memorial. It's a remarkable plant-based product that stores atmospheric carbon for its lifespan. It's made from waste cork using industrial processes in a highly sustainable manner. The use of industrial processes helps to sustain traditional biodiverse land management practices. So this material speaks of our industrial heritage and also the way in which this may be utilized in future to set a different path.
The fabrication stage evolved over the course of the design to play a key role in maintaining the integrity of the expanded cork resource. Using the suberin encrusted cork billets as our starting point, we developed a prefabricated kit of parts to be made in Portugal and then assembled by hand in Seoul, a bit like giant plant-based Lego. The installation uses a modular system with 6 block types, all based on fractions of a whole block, with 93 parts in total made from 62 expanded cork billets with no waste offcuts whatsoever. The blocks are shaped for easy assembly in the form of the memorial. They are also designed for reuse, either as corbelled roof blocks or as vertical wall blocks. Combined with the dimensional modularity of the system, this enables a range of flexible configurations to increase the potential for reuse. Here is a block with its suberin encrust on the external face and the slots that have been machined to receive the timber interconnectors. Assembly is a simple process where one block is placed on top of another to create a distinctive corbelled form, as has been done so often in the past with stone. Here is the section through the memorial and a detail showing the timber interconnectors that are used to minimize the amount of block cutting. And here is the complete kit of prefabricated parts. This was made and built first in Portugal by Amarim. This was to ensure that it all fitted together before it was disassembled and transported to Seoul, where it was brought to the design plaza and built for the second time by Cork World, where it now forms part of the Biennale exhibition called Crossroads, Building a Resilient City. Here it is in its final form, available to visit and experience until the 31st of October. As you get closer, the different character of the Suberin encrusted faces and the relatively smooth cut faces is clear. And once inside the monument, when you look up, you can sense the compressive character of the structure that envelops you, and the form of construction appears almost as an exploded diagram, revealing its plant-based parts and assembly process. At the end of October, the Biennale will close, and it will be the end of the life of the Memorial to the Industrial Revolution. The monument will be taken apart, cork block by cork block, just as it was built. And we will be left with a collection of cork blocks and timber profiles that are still youthful, with plenty of life left in them. Grown in Portugal and transported to South Korea, it's a simple system designed for reuse. And together with Amarim and Corkworld, we also aim to establish a further use for these components. Perhaps as a seasonal lining to a public square, like this project in Lisbon, A Square in Summer by Jose Neves. Or maybe used to add some comfort at a ferry terminal, like this project in Venice by Joanna Vasconcelos. Or perhaps most likely, fabricated further for use as a green wall installation that Corkworld are renowned for in South Korea. So here's a summary of the life cycle for the Memorial to the Industrial Revolution. Starting at the top left, the raw material is harvested from a biodiverse landscape. It uses waste and byproducts from cork forestry, which is then cooked with no additional ingredients whatsoever, using energy mostly from waste biomass from cork forestry. And then the blocks are fabricated to allow interlocking assembly on site by hand without mortar or glue. And then in bottom left, as a memorial, it has a specific form that is driven by its life cycle. And then in November, at the end of the memorial's life, the blocks will be disassembled for reuse, perhaps in a green wall, or recycling back into the manufacturing chain, perhaps as loose fill insulation, or even returned to the soil to biodegrade and generate new growth in the biosphere. And a big thanks to all those who contributed to realizing the project. Thanks very much.